Hey everybody, it is Natalie from Power Moon Tarot. Welcome to your reading. Today is an interesting reading called A Message from Your First Love. So this could be somebody that you from your past, with who you would consider to be your very first love. And they have a message for you today. So you can go ahead and choose your pile. You have pile number 1, which is the attraction pile. If you're drawn to this image, you'll choose pile number 1. For pile number 2, we have the Duality card. If you're interested in the Duality card, you'll choose pile number 2. And for pile number 3, we have Transparency. If you're interested in this card, the energy of transparency, you'll choose pile number 3. So those are the main piles to choose from today. I'm going to go ahead and put the other piles aside. For those of you that would like to follow me on social media, I'm at Natalie H Astrology on Blue Sky. If you happen to be there, look me up. I'm having a good time over there. And for those of you that would like a personal reading with me, details for how to request one are below. Both an astrology reading or a tarot reading, both have details in the description box below. Let's go ahead and get into the reading. Alrighty then. Pile number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the attraction card, and today's reading is a message from your very first love. Pile number 1. Let's get into a relaxed mental state and figure out what this person has to say to you. Pile number 1. It could be just a hi, how are you kind of message. It could be a, one last thing I wanted to tell you message. It could be, continuing on your life purpose kind of message. We'll see what they have to say to you, pile number 1. And see a message from your first love. Okay. Focus in on that person, if you will. Pile number 1, the person that was your very first love. And let's go ahead and get into your reading and see what message does this person have for pile number 1, please. Ooh, 3 of Swords. Heartbreak. Pain. Oh. Painful to lose you or to lose the relationship. Very heartbroken. They're saying I was heartbroken at the time. Ace of Cups. My first love. You were my very first love too, and it absolutely broke my heart. Let's get 2 more. You've got the Page of Swords and the Death card. Wow. Okay, and I think what they're saying, and look at the Empress on the bottom of the deck. Okay. You were my dream come true. You were my dream person. And I think the thing that hurt them the most was like never talking again or never talking about it again and just having to like move on and never being able to talk about it. I feel like maybe they didn't get to really talk about it with anyone and they had to like keep it all inside and all their feelings inside and their pain inside, and they couldn't really talk to anyone about it because you were the first person in their life that they could actually talk to and share like a really vulnerable part of themselves with. And so moving on from that was, it felt like a death. It felt very sad for them. I'm getting here, pile number 1, and they were super sad, realizing that, it's like, can't we talk about it? Or can't we And they're saying, I still think about it. I still think about the way things ended. Page of Swords, the Death card. I still think about the way things ended and how painful it was, and how sad I was. And, with the Empress here, this person is saying, I thought we were going to be together forever. I thought we were going to get married. I thought we were going to be like together forever, and yeah, so we have passion, okay, and we have peace. Oh boy, breakup to makeup, breakup to makeup, a lot of breaking up to make up type of energy. Okay, and a relationship that could have kept them on the edge of their seat. We have shedding illusions. The first step is awareness. The second step is acceptance. We have reality, honesty, and self-love. Okay, shedding illusions. And, there was a lot of pain and, saying like there was a lot of pain, but there was a lot of passion there. And we have shedding illusions. Like, especially if you and this person did get into a pattern of breaking up, if you guys would break up and then make up and then break up and make up and kind of go on a cycle like that, I feel like this person is saying like it took them a while to understand that, having a lot of heartbreak and a lot of like living on the edge with something, yeah, maybe it gives a lot of passion, but at the end of the day, what I want is peace. Like I want passion and peace. I want the fire and all of that without all the problems type of thing. And we have justice and the Page of Cups. Okay. And you basically, I feel you taught themselves something very important. Like with the Justice card here, pile number 1, I feel like you taught them a very important lesson. And something about the situation wasn't fair to you, or you deserved more. Okay. And I feel like you had to take action about something here. And you realized something wasn't fair to you, is what I feel like. And there's so many times, like you can see him here with the piece of paper writing you a letter, or writing you a text message or an email or a letter, like so many times that this person wanted to they want you to know that they imagined you two together, that they imagined that you two would always be together and that you would be able to heal whatever issues that you were having. And they want you to know that they believed in it at the time, okay? And there was something, though, that I feel that you guys decided with this Justice card here. Pile number 1. I feel like there was something that you decided here. And this person is saying, I was like caught in my feelings for a long time after the breakup. They continued to think about you for a long time and wonder where you were, wonder who you were with, wonder how you were doing, wonder if you were with someone else. And those thoughts would drive them absolutely crazy with jealousy. I feel like maybe even years after. Pile number 1, actually with the 3 of Swords, up to 3 years after, I feel like thoughts of you being with someone else or being happy with someone else. And they could have heard that you got married to someone else, or that you were happily with someone else or happily partnered with someone else. And I feel like they wanted to write you a letter or somehow write you and tell you or communicate with you about how they were feeling about that. And, maybe sometimes they felt like you were kind of playing with their emotions. And there could have been, with this Ace of Cups and Three of Swords, a feeling of there was a lot of breaking up to making up, playing with each other's emotions. We kind of got high off the passion, and it was kind of a toxic pattern that wasn't good for us. And somebody started to see that pattern and ended the relationship. And, it's funny, pile number one, were they the ones that ended it? Because they're the ones that saw that. But then you realized like something wasn't fair to you, and you learned a major lesson from this, or you taught them a major lesson in this too. And years later, I feel like they were still thinking about you, or still thinking about the ending, or still thinking about how things happened here. Okay. And, with this shedding illusions, it's kind of like who did what to who. I feel like that's a very like hard thing to kind of like weigh out. And, the whole thing of, there has to be like, who's the bad guy, or who's the one that like messed up. And it's maybe you're kind of like realizing, what, we both messed up. We both like, we were on and off again, on and off again. And, we both kind of messed up. I do feel like that this person did have a realization at some point, and they did really start missing you, but it was too late, because I feel like you were already with someone else, pile number one. And I have so much going on inside. I don't know what to do, contemplating. Yeah. And definitely they could have been, I feel like you were more like mentally like older than this person. You know how people can have like a high emotional IQ, or like be ready for partnership, but the other person's like younger, or like more emotional. Okay. And they don't have to actually be younger, but they can just be like more emotional. And I feel like that this person, at the time, they thought that they were right, and they could have been very stubborn, but over time they became more emotional and upset, thinking about you with someone else. They have so much going on inside their head. They don't know what to do. They're contemplating. They're trying to, yeah, that's the Page of Swords. They're trying to understand. We have rushing. You can't hurry love. The right one is coming in perfect and divine timing. Okay. And yep, that's one thing that, things could have been very hot and very cold at times between you and this person, where, you can't hurry love. The right one is coming in perfect divine timing. And maybe that's something that you realized, pile number one. Okay. And I do feel like with the Empress here, your right one is coming in, or is there, or came in there was somebody else that came in after your first love. And you were waiting for the quality person, and you were going to make a decision, and you had decided, I'm not going to rush into anything. And maybe everything developed really fast with your first love, and it was hot and it was cold and it was on again and off again, and you just realized that kind of like obsession, or that kind of like, it leads right to kind of like the relationship ending. So rushing around, we have criticizing your partner is driving them away. Focus on their good qualities. Okay. And perhaps maybe perhaps maybe they did rushing and you did criticizing, or vice versa. But I feel like one of you did one thing and the other one did the other. One person was kind of rushing things or pushing things very quickly, which resulted in like a lot of, overthinking, fighting, obsession, etc. And then the other person would be very criticizing of the other person. I feel like maybe you were with this justice card here. I feel like this is more you. I feel like you were mentally kind of in a position of being older than this person mentally, pile number one. So I feel like, you could have been at times criticizing them for things that you didn't like you're looking at their illusions and you see them for what they are and you're like, stop, doing that. And they're like, I just want some peace and I just want you to be nice to me, but you're saying really mean things to me. And maybe that's something you learned with the Empress energy, is how to be more Venusian and how to be softer with things. But I also feel like they were kind of like rushing things, or because I feel that they did see you as like, somebody that they could be with long term. And perhaps that was like, a little bit scary. It's like we're kind of like rushing into this and it's a lot, okay? And maybe, sometimes that can make people feel like out of control or make people feel like it's too much. All right, so we've got I am compassionate, okay? And this, your first love wants you to know that even if you guys did fight sometimes because they were very sensitive and they feel like you were kind of pointing out some of their flaws or criticizing them at times, they want you to know that they know that you're a very compassionate person and that it's your compassion that makes you shine, and that you're devoted to helping the greater good, and that you have a strong talent for speaking up for other people, and that your soul is most satisfied when you're being of service. And they actually love that. This is card number 9. Some of you here may be a life path number 9. But they, even though like maybe at times they felt criticized or judged with justice here, they know at the same time that you were only doing it because you cared about them, or that you were only saying certain things or doing certain things because you wanted the best for them. Like you weren't doing it from a mean position at all. You were doing it to try to help them. And they see that now. Pile number 2, they see that now. They do. They're older now. They get it. They can see that you weren't trying to, criticize them or be mean or whatever, that you were actually trying to help them, and that you are a very compassionate person. And we have Saturn return and age. Yep. And this is what I was talking about, having an older mindset than someone else. And even though if you can be the same age, one person could be older, but mindset wise, someone can have like an older mindset. And this has to do with the Saturn return. So I don't know how old you are, pile number 1, but for those of you that are 29, 30, 31, this person had a major wake-up call. If for those of you that you and this person are now past 29, 30, 31 years old, they had a major wake-up call on their Saturn return. They really started to get things. Like they started to realize, oh, you weren't trying to rush me into making a decision. You weren't trying to criticize me. You weren't trying to control me or whatever. Like you actually were trying to help me make better decisions for myself, or you were actually trying to help me figure my life out at that time. And I wish I knew then what I know now, is what I feel like. Like with age, I feel like this person is understanding more, okay? And this person could have had a very judgmental father or a very judgmental family member, that they were very sensitive to criticism. which kind of triggered them into the mental space where they like ended something, or they like let something go because they got their feelings hurt. Three of Swords, Ace of Cups. Okay. Sensitive but stubborn in ways I feel like they can be. And yeah, I feel like they could have had like a very judgmental parent or a family member that, so that kind of like criticizing or judging can make them feel very exposed or vulnerable, or put them in a negative headspace type of thing. Okay, so there, yeah, we have the eighth house and endings. That is what caused the ending, is this sense of feeling judged, or feeling like not good enough, or feeling like they're doing something wrong. I feel like that's what kind of like caused the ending. And um, I do feel like this person could have experienced the death of their father, or their father got sick or ill, or they no longer have contact with their father. Like there is something going on with their father, I feel, pile number one, like big time. And there was a major blowout, or a major like ending, death card. Okay, and then we have the eighth house here, which does have to do with endings that made them understand things on a deeper level that really hurt them, but at the same time made them grow up. And it was losing things that made them grow up. So whether that is, you know, losing a family member, or losing someone that they had a very difficult relationship with, made them realize a whole bunch of things about their life. Like losing you is another thing that made them grow up and understand. Like they understand more. They've grown in wisdom, and they've grown, you know, more wise in their life through endings. And it's been very painful for them. It's been really, really tough for them mentally. Sometimes they've been very low. They want you to know, because um, they have suffered, like, you know, they've dealt with a lot of loss. And you know, this rushing card, rushing can come from this feeling that, well, I need to do something now or all will be lost. Like that sense of, I need to lock something down now or I could lose it type of feeling. And living with that amount of, you know, stress and mental stress in someone's life can be a lot to deal with. But I think that this person has learned a lot through major losses that they have had, that have caused them to mature more mentally. Okay, and so they want you to know that. We have freedom here. Wow. Okay. And they know that you're like, they think you're different than the rest, and that you're not gonna get stuck in like situations where you're like super unhappy and having to do things, and where you want to get out of something that you've committed to. Like a lot of people are stuck in miserable relationships that they really want to get out of, or they are stuck in really miserable commitments that they wish they could be free from. I'm seeing the letter A and the letter B here. Okay, and they're kind of jealous because they feel like you have your freedom. Not jealous, but they're happy that you have your freedom. And, you know, not having really heavy losses and really heavy commitments where you just keep losing money, or, you know, Saturn in the eighth house can have to do with debt and issues with debt and paying off debt. It can have to do with, you know, having a lot of debt, or, you know, part of freedom in life is freedom from, like, you know, really heavy commitments that are like holding you down from being able to, like, really heavy commitments that you're not happy with, right? And this person is saying that they hope that you're happy, and they hope that, you have a smile on your face, and they hope that you're not stuck in like really heavy commitments that you can't get out of. They hope that you're like having a lot of freedom in your life to do. And we have self-esteem here. Okay, I possess the gifts of soul that benefit me and others. Okay, and this is something that I feel that you guys have, that they really saw in you. Like, I feel with this Justice card here, I feel like you guys have faith in your decision making. You are a very compassionate person. You've learned a lot through your mistakes in life that has helped you grow. You found a sense of freedom. These are the biggest things that I feel that they would like you to know, is that they know that you are compassionate. They know that you deserve a happy life that's free of, heavy commitments that are just like dragging you down and wearing you down, and that you should feel really good about yourself and who you are as a person, because you've always had a good, strong head on your shoulders, and you've always been really good at making decisions and being the best person that you can be. Okay. And so they just want you to know that, pile number one. And I hope that that reading resonated for you, my lovelies. Do let me know. Also, the Empress, very much with the energy of self-esteem, as we see here, like loving herself, happy with who she is. This person wants you to feel like they know that you're very attractive, and that, you should be loving yourself and happy with who you are. So pile number one, I hope that that reading resonated for you, my lovelies. I would love to hear your comments in the description box below. And let's move on to pile number two. Pile number two, welcome to your reading. You chose the Duality card, and today's reading is a message from your first love. So pile number two, and this could be a hi, how are you kind of a message. This could be something deeper, something that was left unsaid. This could be, telling you something they always wanted to say, or just reiterating something from the past that they still have with them as it relates to you and them. So pile number two, focus on this person, your very first love, okay? And let's get a message from your very first love to pile number two, please. Your very first love, pile number two. And we've got the Nine of Wands on the bottom of the deck, okay? And it says fear. We've got Seven of Swords, deceit. Geez, those are some hard. Three of Swords, heartbreak. Okay, Three of Swords came up in pile number one. And we have Three of Wands, communication. Okay. 2 3s and a 7. 7, 3, 3. So let's go ahead, and definitely I feel like something with communication, and there could be something that was said that was not true. There could have been being afraid of telling someone the truth, something that was said that definitely communication coming up as an issue between you and this person. And, you know, it's your first love, right? Things are going to be a little bit sloppy. It depends on how old you are when you had your first love. But I mean, most of us are pretty young and we're not the best at stuff yet. And, you know, there could have been some gossip, rumors, there could have been some lies that were told. There could have been some, you know, stuff that happened that basically is causing communication issues and caused you to move on or caused them to move on. So, and the energy of duality can show us, like, you know, where we are having an opposite, we're opposite to somebody, right? And opposites can attract. So, but opposites can also be very challenging. So this could be, and even opposite signs, like you could have a Gemini with a Sagittarius, a Taurus with a Scorpio, you know, that type of thing. A Leo with an Aquarius, right? That we were like opposites in so many ways, and our communication was always very like it wasn't very good. And sometimes we did lie to each other. Sometimes it wasn't really working out. So let's see what we have going on here. And there could have been other people involved is another thing that I'm getting here too as well. Like with the threes, we have 2 3s here. And then I'm just, something about this 7 of Swords is making me feel like there could have been other people involved in this relationship. So it could be that, you know, someone brought their buddies over and their buddies got involved in something in the relationship as well. It could be that, you know, I mean, that's a pretty niche kind of a situation, but I kind of feel like somebody got tricked, or somebody got tricked into something maybe that they didn't really know that they wanted to do. And then there was like a fear in the future with the 9 of Wands. There could be like a world weariness or a fear around getting involved again with other people, because if you're got your heart broken really bad and you were lied to, yeah, that's going to make you like not really want to. That's going to make you defensive, and it's going to make you not want to engage in finding someone new. And so, you know, moving on from that type of a situation could be very challenging. We have abundance here, an abundance of deceit. Oh boy. We've got magic. Okay. And we've got shadow blossom. You both need sunlight and darkness to bloom fully, resilience and nourishing, okay? Shadow blossom. And this relationship, it had sunlight, it's seen fire, and it's seen rain, pile number 2, okay? There were good things about the relationship. The 3 of Wands could be strong. Maybe there was a lot of things that you were on the same page about, or there was, you know, like maybe you both were into sports, or you both were extremely physically active, or you both had a very high sexual energy about you, okay? And other people couldn't really keep up, but you could keep up with each other, that type of thing. And so, yeah, I do think there could be some sunlight and darkness in this relationship between you and this person. And you know what, pile number 2, I'm kind of using the word relationship loosely here. And maybe I just got this intuitive feeling that it's quote unquote a relationship, right? So maybe it wasn't like, you know, with the 7 of Swords, maybe it was on and off again. Maybe it wasn't that well defined. Maybe if, you know, you asked like your best friend or other people that knew you both, and they'd be like, that wasn't a relationship. That was a da, da, da. train wreck or whatever, or that was, depending on whatever day of the week it was, it would tell you what it was. But there was something, very magical, and maybe you both made each other feel alive, or you both had, a little bit of craziness within you in abundance that made you both feel alive and caused the relationship to kind of bloom. But again, I'm using that quote unquote relationship. I don't know if we want to totally call it that. We have the Five of Wands here. And, this is a voyeur, somebody who kind of gets off on doing stuff in public sexually, or gets off on watching another person sexually, or finds it very attractive to watch someone being a voyeur, that type of thing. Okay. So, I mean, maybe a lot of people with the Seven of Swords and Three of Swords didn't really understand this whole thing that you two were doing here, but maybe there was a part of you that actually enjoyed it. Pile number one, we've got until the Ten of Swords, right? There's just cheating all over the place, right? There's, she's cheating on him, he's cheating on her. Okay, everybody's cheating. And, one person is kind of like self-punishing and getting off on it and saying they like it. And the other person is, sometimes it's like I'm like enjoying the pain, or I'm telling myself that the pain will be worth it. Or I am like, I know that they were fucking around with other people, or I know that they tried to sleep with my best friend, or I know that they tried to, but I didn't care anyway. Yeah, I was crying half the time. Yeah, I was upset half the time. And yes, they were like, turned on by these kind of like secret love situations. This is kind of a tough situation, pile number two, for a first love. Okay. And, maybe people really didn't expect this thing to get off the ground or go anywhere. But like unexpectedly, Three of Wands, it started to kind of like take off at some point, or started to kind of go somewhere. But I feel it was a very rough scenario. Okay. And, of maybe mental games being played here, but I don't know. It's like we like each other. We're each other's type here with this abundance and magic. And we are like very chaotic, and but at the same time, and no one in our friend group expected us to even get anywhere with each other, or no one expected us to like get anywhere in the connection. But weirdly, with the Three of Wands, we started to actually take off a little bit here. Okay, it says, I'm so lonely, but I just want to be left alone, isolated. Okay, so again, there could be this energy of like all we have is each other, and maybe this person didn't have a lot of friends, or they didn't have a lot of support in their life. And sometimes, we meet a person during a time in our life when we are very lonely or isolated. And even though the energy is like painful or hurting us, we stick with it anyway, and we keep pushing it forward, hoping it's going to grow, because we both feel very like, lonely or isolated. And maybe pile number one or pile number two, you like to spend a lot of time alone in your room, or you would spend a lot of time, crying in your room, or like your room was always like a major mess, and there was always like stuff like tipped over, and things would be really messy, and I don't know. I'm getting something about your like mental state. Pile number 2 may not have been the best, right? And maybe this person's mental state wasn't the best either. No. Um, where I feel this person like to do like fun, kind of dangerous voyeur type of things and maybe take advantage of that sexually. And I feel like mentally, perhaps you were not in the best space mentally, and maybe you were lonely, and so you did go along with it, or you both were kind of craving that sense of adventure together, and so you kind of came together to do something. And I mean, I feel both you and this person are quite resilient people, and you were looking for some type of nourishing connection with one another. But I do feel like there could have been the 5 of Wands and the 10 of Swords. I feel like there could have been some very negative reactions to this connection. Like, people talking badly about it, people not liking it. Like if you're not in the best mental state and they're like in a state of wanting to do deviant stuff sexually, then that can be kind of, that can be kind of a hot mess. We have lust, not love. Okay. Passion isn't the same as lasting love. Don't get sucked in just by good sex. Okay. And maybe that is what was going on. And, I do feel like, I mean, these two look really close to one another. They look like they could be in love, or they look like they're, like really feeling each other or really intertwined with one another. But maybe this is something that you realize down the road, or they realize down the road, that things are more like it was more about lust, not about love. So that's interesting. We have getting crumbs. Yeah, and this person I do feel is very sexual, and also very much didn't want to be alone and wanted to act out like they're deviant, like sexual fantasies, and do things like, you know what I mean? They wanted like an abundance of that energy, and they wanted to like really feel the magic and really feel, and Shadow Blossom is like our love could grow, even though it's like very looked down upon type of thing. Like our love is kind of like looked down upon, but still I feel like 3 of Wands, like we can fight against the odds and, be a good lovers together. But I do feel like, there was like this energy like of lust, not love. And that's why I kept calling it a quote unquote relationship. Now I called it that before I even saw this card, but this card just confirms it, of what I was kind of like channeling earlier about it just being like a quote unquote kind of a relationship. What would you define it as, right? Type of thing. And then getting crumbs. You deserve more than crumbs of affection. Wait for the one who adores you. And I feel like, this is something where you used to kind of just sit alone and stare at the water, or sit alone in your room. And, this person used to leave you in kind of a rough mental state. And, maybe when you were together, it felt, I feel like this person is saying, their message to you is, I was very lonely at the time. And when I was with you, I felt, very energized, abundant, and like the world was alive and that things were possible. And I felt like people didn't really believe that we could be anything. But at the time, we wanted to do what we wanted to do and love the way we wanted to love and prove other people wrong. And we were like kind of like a dark horse kind of relationship. that people would have never bet on. But at the same time, it was fun showing people that even though they didn't think that we had the ability to be anything and that maybe this was going nowhere, that we were kind of like doing our own thing type of thing. And so that's what they are talking about. But perhaps for you, pile number 2, you realized, you know what, this is kind of like, this is more about a sexual thing for them. And for me, I don't feel like I'm getting what I need. Okay. And so that's tough energy right there, because you've got somebody who, there's like an abundance of sexual energy, and the relationship kind of grows out of nowhere and becomes this thing out of nowhere. But then maybe you feel like, really sad because you're not getting what you need. I am generous, okay? And this person feels that you're a very generous person and that you have a heart of gold, and that you're very good at maintaining balanced and stable relationships, and that you are very loyal to your loved ones, and that they are not. Okay. And maybe you're like, you know what, Natalie, this was kind of the beginning of all my problems in the first place. Like, I am very generous. I do have a heart of gold. But you know what? This person kind of took advantage of that. And yeah, there were times that I felt, it felt very magical, very close and fun. 3 of Wands is very fun. And I felt like things were manifesting and moving forward and everything like that. But at the end of the day, I kept getting crumbs from this person. And they're telling me that I'm a generous person, that I'm a nurturer, a protector, a provider, that I'm very good at, maintaining balanced and stable relationships. I feel like this person is not, they have a real fear about that. It's a catch-22 with them, because they're afraid of being alone, but yet they don't want to, and they want things to move forward, but they're not like mentally prepared to make that leap. With the 7 of Swords and 3 of Swords, they're, and they're telling you that you have a heart of gold and that you're very balanced and stable in relationships. And you're like, Natalie, at the time I wasn't. I was a mess. Like, mentally, I was down on myself. I was having a hard time. I felt alone. I felt like, sometimes I felt very high by the relationship. Other times I felt very low by the relationship. Okay. And honestly, after the whole thing was over, I just felt very defensive about letting anybody into my life again. And, with the 3 of Wands, things move very quickly. But things also can fall apart very quickly. And it's amazing that this person thinks that you're so generous and lovely. But I think, what you would like is somebody who treats you the same way, right? Like, if you're very duality, right? Duality, opposites. If you're have a heart of gold, what does that mean? He has a heart of shit, okay? Or she has a heart of shit. If you're very good at maintaining balanced and stable relationships, what does that mean? They don't. They're opposite to that. They're liars, cheaters, users, scoundrels, etc., right? They use people for sex, whatever. Okay, so what does this person mean by that, right? By assigning you all these great qualities, are they saying, but I'm not, right? I'm just this Neanderthal who can't really get it together. And we have Grand Cross and Provoker. And I do feel like this person would kind of push you in a direction to do certain things, like maybe even selfishly that they wanted you to do, perhaps sexually, maybe things in public, maybe things with others, maybe, just things that they wanted. I feel like this person was really good at creating creative scenarios where you had to like decide if that's what you wanted to do or not. And they're really good at provoking that, I feel. We have Virgo, and I analyze. Okay. So while they're throwing, while they're throwing bombs out into a situation, pile number 2, you're sitting there trying to figure out why they're doing what they're doing. Okay. And I feel like a lot of the reasons of why they do what they do is because they're bored or they're not sexually stimulated. Okay. And I feel like, that's kind of the reason why they act the way that they act, because they feel very alone. They want to be close to someone, but they want someone to be close to so that they're not alone, but they also don't want to be like emotionally like in it with them. Okay. And it's a very kind of cruel, kind of cold way to love someone, or to quote unquote love someone. That's a pretty cruel and cold way to kind of get your point across when it comes to what a person has to give in relationships. And maybe you spent a lot of time analyzing this, thinking about it, trying to understand what they're doing, why they're this way. A lot of times with people, it's because they're bored and they need something to do, and they want someone around them, but they don't want to it's not about like the emotional sharing. Like there's no cups here. Okay. It's about having an abundance of options and people that you can choose for your fun, good times. 7 of Swords. It's about how, magically after heartbreak with the person, they can kind of keep reappearing in your life, and how the love can kind of keep coming back, and how we keep kind of reanalyzing the situation. Okay. And I do feel like this person thinks that you did analyze their behavior a lot. And perhaps you started to see exactly what they were up to, and perhaps you started to give some criticism on that, or you started to really look at the details of what was happening in this situation, or you really started to put things under a magnifying glass at some point, and then it started to really make you angry. Like the more that you looked at the situation, or the more that you analyzed the situation, the more angry you got about it. Okay, is something that I kind of feel here. We have observation. Yeah, the more that and they think that you're very observant, right? And that you see the moves that people are making behind the scenes, and that you were always good at observing them very closely and making them squirm a little bit while you were very much watching what they were up to, right? So I do feel like this person is saying that they felt, like, but I also feel like with this observing, that this person is also, again, coming back to that energy of, what was I saying, with the sexual stuff and the observing of people, or the like watching, the voyeurism. Okay. There could really be a lot of voyeurism going on here as well with this observation. But there's certain things that you noticed about this person that I feel that you came to realize, and as much as they were observing you, you were also observing them, and some of the things that you learned could have really upset them or upset you. Okay. And this is about observing and analyzing someone and then like realizing that, oh, you know, and sometimes with observation and analysis, we can talk about like psychologically like breaking people down, or you know how they talk about in psychology, like an analyst, right, would listen to you and then would break down what you said like psychologically to you. And maybe sometimes like there was this energy of listening to the other person, analyzing what they were saying, kind of breaking that down psychologically and then giving it back to them like a analyst would. And then without a lot of feeling, without a lot of you know, warmth behind it, but just kind of like delivering the message. And that could be very provoking to someone, I think, kind of like quote unquote being analyzed that way. And maybe somebody was very uncomfortable being looked at or being analyzed a lot regarding their behavior and what they were up to. And we have denial, okay? I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness, okay? And I feel like this person is kind of saying, pile number 2, like that there were some things maybe that were going on that you did too, that they want to call out, but they feel like you're in denial about, okay? There could be this accusation against one another of, well, you're in denial. Oh no, but you're in denial. Okay. And like really, really analyzing and observing the other person, and then kind of giving those observations in a very cold, clinical manner. And then, you know, being like, okay. And then, yeah. So, I do feel like this is coming up here. This is saying I acknowledge my fear, which is interesting on this 9 of Wands. And maybe for a long time, pile number 2, you were in a lot of denial about how much this situation really hurts you. Like this situation, maybe like you were like, oh no, I can move on quickly, 3 of Wands, right? But when you really look at this situation, you're like, this was not love. This was me getting crumbs from an asshole who was incredibly right? Maybe it is like you're starting to realize the more that you look at the situation or the more that you observe it, that, you know, that this actually did really affect you, and that moving forward in your relationships, you actually had a big fear, perhaps maybe, of letting other people get close or letting other people be around you in that way or get close to you. You kept people maybe at an arm's length, or you were always like analyzing new people that you met, like psychologically analyzing them, trying to figure out what's wrong with them, trying to stay 10 steps ahead, because there was like an anxiety around, you know, being with somebody new because of what you went through in this particular situation. So pile number 2, my heart goes out to you on that, because a lot of times that need to want to like overanalyze situations can come from a sense of anxiety, and we could be like not admitting to ourselves like how much something really hurt. So pile number 2, I'm sure you know by now, my loves. I'm sure you are like, nope, I got it. I know. And I hear you, pile number 2, and that sense of over analyzing when anxiety is coming up. 100%, I'm right there with you. I've definitely experienced the same. So pile number 2, I'm wishing you the very best, my loves, and take care. Let's move on to pile number 3. Okay. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. You chose transparency, and today's reading is a message from your very first love. So take a deep breath, connect with the energy, think about your very first love. They have a message for you. It could be a hi, how are you message. It could be something they want to bring up from the past. It could be something they just want to reiterate from the past. Let's go ahead and look into it and see. For my pile number 3s, let's look at a message from their very first love. Pile number 3. Message from their very first love. Okay, pile number 3. We have the Ace of Swords. Ooh, message coming in clear. We've got the 3 of Pentacles, the Star card, and the 10 of Wands. You know, when we work so hard on our healing in life to work on bringing out the best qualities within ourselves, and it takes so much time and energy in life to do that inner work. I really feel like that is being acknowledged here. Pile number 3, let's go ahead and start your reading, my loves. We have Cleanse, okay, and that's the 3 of Pentacles, and we have Flow with the Star card. Ooh, I likey. We have Soul Mirrors. Others reflect your own relationship with yourself. Open Heart, Healing Union. Wow, okay. I feel a very positive message here coming through so far. Pile number 3. We've got some more cards to turn over here before we really dive in. But I mean, I feel so far, I like what I'm seeing. We have the Fool and we have the 7 of Swords. Interesting. Okay. Your light is guiding me home, beautiful, radiant. Wow, that's the Star card and the Flow and Soul Mirrors. Your light is guiding me home, beautiful. Oh, wow. Pile number 3. And, you know, the clouds are parting and the sun is coming through. I just have to give a little quick message for those of you that have, you know, that you feel this person's presence with you. For those of you that have actually lost a first love due to like the person passing away, or you know that this person has passed on, then I just need to give, it's not going to resonate with everyone, but I just have to give a side message to those that know that. I do feel like this person with the Ace of Swords is like strongly coming through clairaudiently, intuitively, and like, you know, giving you messages. And they're saying, your light is guiding me home, beautiful, radiant energy. Wow. Wow. We have love is the answer. Okay. Love's the answer, but it says love won't solve all your problems. We need to work on being independent. Okay, so that is, it's interesting because it's like love is the answer. It says it on the card, but then it's like we also have to work on being independent people here. We have hiding feelings. You need to express how you feel to the one you love to see how they feel in return. Oh, actually, I feel this pile is really sweet. Maybe like less drama, like the other 2 piles, they had quite a bit of stuff in them, maybe a lot more drama. This one is card 0, I am limitless, and the Fool. And I love that because you've got 0 showing up twice in your reading. There is no beginning and no end. All is infinite. It's time to develop your spiritual side. You're gaining new sight and understanding of both godly and earthly things. I am limitless. And pile number 3, I just want to say, if you two bonded around spirituality or faith, or something like that, I feel that energy coming very strongly through this reading. And I feel the need to be on independent journeys but I don't really feel that there's any animosity here. There's just an awful lot of individual soul work that needs to be done. Okay. A lot of hard work on the earth plane and a lot of, spiritual work and individual work that needs to be done. And, I feel like this person is saying you're doing a good job. Like you're doing such a good job, being a brilliant example of, working hard to purify your light, working hard to flow with the energy of life, working hard to not really push back not really push against things in a stubborn way, but instead flow with the energy. I feel like this is like a highly spiritual reading, pile number 3. It's a lot different energy than the other 2 piles. Not to say the other 2 piles didn't have spiritual energy, but this is kind of like a little different here. Yeah, because we have Neptune energy coming up of sacrificing. And, here's the thing. I feel you and this person, you're both like very selfless people. And I was talking about, religion, spirituality, faith. There could be a big energy around this with you and this person. You're both like, giving, selfless people. And I feel like you give everything you have to life, and that, both of you recognize the joy, but also the sacrifice in doing that. And perhaps it means that you can't always be with the other person, or you can't always be together. Sometimes we have to be on separate journeys, and sometimes that's the sacrifice that needs to be made. Even though, like spiritually, I feel you and this person are, in their mind, spiritually, there still is a very strong, limitless spiritual connection between you and this person. There just was like a lot of growth that needed to happen. And the thing is that you two were like soul mirrors, and you guys were kind of at the same point in the same position, and you were kind of like looking at each other, was like looking into yourself. And I mean, but that's a beautiful thing, but it also makes individual growth a little bit more challenging. And there is an energy of, independent individual growth that is coming through very strong in this reading too. We have Libra and I balance. And this person says that you're the ideal person, like you are the ideal partner, the ideal person, and that, it definitely was not anything that you did. In fact, you were like the perfect dream, the beautiful vision of like the perfect partner to be with, and that, being with you was like seeing that there was limitless opportunities in the universe, in the world to grow. And, there's a sacrifice of a partnership here that had to happen in order to like move into the next phase of something, I feel, to continue the soul work. But I feel like this person is saying there isn't a day that I don't think about you. There isn't a day that I don't dream about you. There isn't a day that I don't miss you or wish to be near you. You definitely left such a huge impression on this person, pile number 3, a deep impression, something that they will always like hold on to, that they're never going to let go of, is what I feel. Pile number 3, okay? And we have warning. Ooh, okay. And this person, I feel like this person is talking to you about like another area of your life. They're coming through to talk about, to give you a heads up about something in your life, okay? And this could be where you live. I can see like that there is a fire in this community, and there is like smoke or haze. And then, birds often give, like, this is the Urban Crow deck, but this person is giving you a nudge, I feel like, pile number 3, okay? And, with all the, like, environmental stuff that has been going on, whether it be, the fires in California or the earthquake in Thailand, or, just everything that has been going on, flooding, fires, etc. I feel like, we got to be very careful, right? If we smell something burning, if we have a candle burning, we just have to be very careful, especially like if it's in the nighttime as well. Okay. So I feel like, this person is actually coming through with it's not to scare you, pile number 3, because I don't want to scare you or anything, but I feel like this person is saying, just be aware of your surroundings, okay? And something just popped into my head with the Mars-Pluto opposition coming up at the end of April when Mars moves. Mars is going to be moving into Leo and opposing Pluto. Just watch out. I would just not watch out, but just watch that time carefully in the world. And it may not even be something in your world. It may be something else in the world where they're coming through in this reading and they're saying like that they're worried about the world, or they're worried about fires or climate change, or they're worried about, like something could be coming type of a thing. So keep your eyes and ears open to the world to make sure that, you're clear and that you're seeing things for what they are so that you're not distracted. I feel like what they're saying with the Ace of Swords is right now isn't the time to be distracted. So be really focused, okay? And we have discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. Yeah, being really focused and really disciplined. That's really hitting on the energy of the 3 of Pentacles. And even the 10 of Wands is, I'm not going to give up that easily. I have a dream for myself, the Star card, and I am not going to just give up on that. And I'm going to stay very disciplined with what I am doing and working on. And yeah, I feel like this person is saying, don't give up who you are for a relationship. Don't sacrifice your dreams for a relationship. Stay clear-headed, be disciplined, and continue to pursue your own goals is what I feel like this person is saying to you. Continue to pursue your financial, monetary goals. Continue to keep, pushing yourself when it comes to your spiritual life, when it comes to your individual freedom, when it comes to pushing for your individual freedom, freedom of speech, freedom to be who you are. Keep pushing for all of that. I feel like this person is saying, don't roll over and don't sacrifice that for anything or anyone. Not me, not anybody, okay? And I do feel that at the time, I do feel that something about the timing in the relationship, just to kind of address the relationship, something about the timing wasn't working at the time, and something about the communication and the timing was a little bit off, and somebody had to go and restart their entire life from scratch, okay? And the other person couldn't really help in that or assist in that, or it was something someone needed to go and do individually on their own, okay? And I do feel like this person is saying, I feel guilty because I didn't help you with something, but at the same time, I also feel like this person is saying, I always knew that you could do it on your own, and that it would be better for you if you did it on your own, and so that you own it entirely and completely is what I feel like what they're saying is they love how you are yourself, how you work hard, how you're a disciplined person. They're saying do not sacrifice your dreams for a relationship. Continue to be open to everything coming your way. And at the time, maybe there was, an inability to express feelings or an inability to say, like, I feel like this person is taking responsibility for that and saying, I should have let you know how I was feeling at the time. I should have explained to you why I was leaving or where I was going. And, with this Ace of Swords, they're trying to talk to you right now, I feel, pile number 3, and let you know. And they have learned not to hide their feelings anymore, that is not, good for a relationship, that they need to be very open and transparent with their feelings, and that, love is a beautiful thing, but they put a really high value on working hard and being independent. And they know that you do too. And they are very happy to see that aspect of you grow. And they know at times it has been a struggle, but they're saying it's worth it. You're doing the right thing. Keep growing yourself independently. So pile number 3, that is what I'm getting. It's a very positive message, an uplifting message from that person. Pile number 3, wishing you the very best. Take care.